This is a continuation of the last clip where I discussed web stickies, and if you remember, I introduced a malleable link set object that that looks like a web browser that you could stick anywhere on any surface, and that you could use as a web browser or as a shared whiteboard. And my intention today is to show how we could actually use this this web sticky to create like an office environment. One of the challenges I see with 3D virtual worlds is that it does not seem that we have a truly important reason for logging into a 3D environment for for mundane applications. What we are really hoping to do is to create an environment that people would want to log in into every day to do their tasks, to do the tasks that they normally do in front of their computers. And whether this this goal is reasonable or not, that's open to debate. But at least, I mean, that doesn't stop us from doing the experiment. Of course, if we want to use a 3D virtual world as something that that as users we would want to visit every day, then we need to find what are the advantages for doing for actually adopting this approach or this habit. So what I've done during the past few days is I've tried to create a virtual office inside the a virtual world, and I'm trying to function in this environment, and this clip describes some of the things I'm doing and some of the lessons learned, and maybe we can touch on some of the technical difficulties that we come across. Okay, so the first thing I had to do is to try to design a display surface. By the way, this is just the empty building that we've been using, for the classroom malleable link set library object. But I'm just repurposing it for for the virtual office functionality. So in this case, what I'm doing is I'm trying to design a display that would serve my daily needs, my daily informational needs. So what I've done, I've created these panels, and that's what like a first iteration. I had these are, let me show you all around so you can see. It's just like a C-shaped panel, and I've just placed the various websites I'm interested in reading regularly on them. So if you remember, each and every display has got this menu that pops up, and that's the standard media on a prim menu that you click on. So in this case here, I'm going to click on the plus sign, and that's going to center this let's call it a window, or this, well, let's call it this pane. I still don't know how to refer to various parts, but it focuses the current page to my screen, so I can actually just scroll through and read the various posts on G+, for example, because I use G+, quite a lot. I also use Facebook, so I've got this display here, and I can, see what's going on. And I'm also interested in Twitter, so what's other things I would do, and as I said before, these are fully functional web pages, and you can pretty much use it normally. So as far as the experiment goes, it's possible to function in this way for accessing information that you would typically try to engage with in your daily practice. So here I have my the Kitely forum that I use sometimes, when I get time, and that's if you have some downtime, you can actually spend some time on Reddit and keep watching those funny videos. And so what I'm trying to show you here basically is that first thing, we design a display, and then place our web stickies on them, and try to use them as we would use web pages on a normal desktop, in a normal desktop situation. So the first difference that I see immediately is that instead of having tabs in a browser, here you have actually web pages that are open, and that's visible in the periphery, or and all around, and you can actually see things happening. So we have a YouTube page here. I could actually play something, a video or a music video, and I can control the volume of the video. So that's what I do normally. If I want to listen to some music, I'll just start playing that music, and then what I'll do is lower the volume and then go elsewhere in the virtual room and access other things, to
Central PA's talking
so
about
that's
Chevrolet.
perhaps one way of describing. So let me lower the volume. That's just to demonstrate that you are in full control of everything that goes on. So if you really want to shut down the sound completely, you can do that too. Okay. So let's see here. I'm going to that window. So it's very easy. You click on the plus sign and you go there. Just want to go back to this base page here for YouTube. Okay, so that's like for more entertainment kind of things. I mentioned a few moments back about the need for having information at a glance in the periphery. So what I want to show you here is an example where I actually have these web pages up and I'm tracking. I'm interested in some stocks, and I'm just tracking their values, and that's what I would do typically. Here I would have a lot of tabs open, and if you actually are a day trader, and you'll be looking at various websites and analyses and look at various stock values and try to trade during the day. And if you have a space where all these this information is already available at a glance, then it's quite useful, and you can actually pretty much do a lot of the various things you would do with a large screen in front of you, or multiple screens in the real world. Except that here you could actually manage with one, and you don't have to have, you're not limited to have so many tabs open, because all the information are available at a glance. And if you want to not to see any of them, you just walk away from these displays and go somewhere else. So the question is, how do you organize this information? So we are now moving. When you go into the 3D environment, you move, and your habits will change. So instead of having logging into your system in the morning and launching various applications and dragging them and putting them on various displays, you can actually just log into a 3D virtual world and you know, and have all these pages already available for you that's streaming in. And one of the technical difficulties I had with trying to make this work is that you cannot have, for example, more than, in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You cannot have more than 8. There's 7 here. There's room for one more, but you cannot have more than 8 web pages displayed at one time, you know, together concurrently when I look in one particular direction. So that's a limiting issue, because my first idea was to create what I call a media bubble, which would have been a series of screens that would actually be all around, all surrounding. But I think the choice will be in the future whether you want to have you know, an environment with lots of screens around you, and you know, with the obvious limitations of you know, the cost of displays and the physical space that you would need to make this happen, or to have these displays in a virtual world, and you will have, you know, inbuilt camera aids that will help you you know, shift from one view to the other. So you see these tabs, these buttons popping up above the various displays. It appears automatically. So let's say I want to make a drawing here on a whiteboard, which is shared potentially. So you could, you know, just use that. There is quite a bit of delay on this one for obvious reason, but you can see how this can happen. I find that even now with the current setup, accessing Google Doc documents for, you know, especially the text documents, it's very, very I was surprised how easy it is to actually use the text document. The feedback required, there's not too much lag, and I actually don't find a lot of difference between working on documents from within the 3D world than having a Google document on a web browser and trying to change it. So just let me give you an idea of the kind of lag that there is. Even for the first, let me center this and type something. Okay, this is not too hard. Okay, so things are functional. The one thing I like is at a glance I can, for example, check out my Trello board and see what others are doing on my team, and what tasks are being worked on and what tasks are being completed. So you can see that all the various tools that you use already in your team setting is readily available. Okay, so we have Slack here, and I can actually check what conversation is going on. And so that's basically what I wanted to show today. The kind of thinking that goes on when you're trying to design an information space for your virtual office inside a virtual world. As I said, I am really trying to find motivation, a reason for having to log into a virtual world as frequently as we log into our desktop machines or laptops every day, and try to make this as seamless as possible, and then try to find the advantages or disadvantages that we have when we choose these different approaches. Okay, so that's it for the virtual office discussion. What I'll do, I'll actually delete everything and then just load the one that I was talking about, the sphere, the media bubble I talked about. So let me clear this, all these various. Okay, it's gone now. And what I'll do is I'll try to load the media sphere, which is 5. So you can see the screens popping up all around me. So initially I thought that I would just have all these screens around and spread it around this fixed point, assuming that the viewer was intelligent enough to pick on which viewer it would actually load, but it didn't happen that way. So for example, if I'm just going to pick a web stick and place it, let's say somewhere here at the center, or place it elsewhere on at the different points. If I have more than 8 of them, then there will be issues. I mean, you'll find that some of the displays will be stuck in the loading phase, and they won't actually render. So there are issues that needs working on, and we'll see. I mean, all these various underlying technologies keep improving all the time, and I'm just sharing the design process, so that if you have any ideas regarding how to, because clearly this is not the only way of thinking about how to design your environment, your virtual office in a 3D world. So if you have any ideas, just write it down in the comments below and let me know. I mean, we're already thinking of other ways for managing all that information, and we are very fond of direct manipulation and moving objects to represent what we really want to do, but that's maybe for another time, the next clip maybe. So I hope you had some idea of what we are working on at the moment, And again, anything that we develop will be integrated in the one of the ResMela library objects, and we are still hoping to make all these objects available as a standard library object in the ResMela database. Thank you for your attention. We'll catch up next time.